Let's bring in Eurasia Group president and founder Ian Bremmer, talk about what has changed in just the last few months here, Ian, and where we're headed next. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
What's involved in making sure this happens in Venezuela, regardless of how long it takes?
Well, what's this, I guess, is the question, right? I mean, there are a lot of different goals. We should first note that President Trump wanted Maduro out, and that was a big part of what he's focused on. And so that's where the effort was, not so much on what the plan is for governing, what comes next. And now everyone else wants to say, well, what's going to happen in Venezuela? Trump doesn't really care who governs it, but Marco Rubio does and wants to ensure that there is some kind of a transition going forward. That's going to take a year or so. And the nature of that transition is going to be important for companies that are going to be investing long term. By the way, so too is the Donroe Doctrine. I mean, Trump is gone in 2029, but the oil companies that go in will still be there for much longer. Well, is that still going to be U.S. policy? Is the U.S. still going to control through its military the outcomes on the ground with the Venezuelan military, security services, the colectivos, and the Democratic opposition? I mean,
right.
These are really the real questions for the company.
Yeah, I know. And we're going into this meeting tomorrow. What do you think oil CEOs are going to want to get in the way of guarantees, given that the apparatus is intact?
Well, I mean, they'd love to see long-term guarantees from the U.S. government. Whether they're going to get them or not is an open question. Look, Trump is always looking for deals, but he's looking usually for headlines. So what he wants to do is offer announcements and pronouncements that, may not actually meet. What they say, objects in the mirror are larger than you think. I mean, this is the way I think that the announcements will go. He said 50 million barrels of oil being guaranteed by the Venezuelans. The conversation in reality was like 15 to 25. I suspect that there's going to be a lot of showmanship and less actual details and execution capacity that comes out of a near-term meeting.
Ian, what do you make of the jawboning around Greenland and what really may actually happen there, given the importance that would represent for the dissolution of NATO?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't lead to the dissolution of NATO because there's not going to be American airborne troops assaulting the territory. And, it's like everyone asking about, well, would Russia, if they send tanks into Poland or the Baltic states, is that, going to be World War III? No, because Russia doesn't send tanks in. They're not stupid. They use asymmetric warfare. And that's precisely the point, is Trump is asking his people to put together a plan for how he can take Greenland without actually invading it. And that's much harder for the Europeans to effectively respond to. He does want it, and he wants it for reasons that I frankly can't understand, because we know that all of the real national security concerns that the Americans should want to have addressed, even though neither Trump in his first term nor Biden actually did anything about it, could easily be addressed by picking up the phone and talking to America's NATO ally, Denmark, which includes the territory of Greenland, part of NATO, right? And so what it feels like Trump wants is to say that Greenland became American under Trump. And, that honestly is not in America's interest. That's in Trump's personal interest.